Breathtaking Canada, for decades a beacon of hope, better life for not just war worn refugees, but economic immigrants or those looking to leave their country of birth due to political or socio-economic reasons. Canada, all embracing, at least so it seems, the first generation, they say, gets lost. It is the second generation, they say, that reaps the harvest. Here is the first part of my conversation with a second generation Greek Canadian on any and everything. His name is Peter Kleamenikis, and he works for a mammoth online North American retail company. I begin by asking him about the challenges he faced as the child of immigrant parents.
For us, yeah, like I said, it's easier because we already we can speak English. We we know where to go. Uh, we're halfway educated, so we're not facing some of those challenges. Now, in terms of some of the, let's say, the new differences that are coming up, there might be a little bit of a difference because back when we were growing up, we were basically all together.
Right.
So it was basically the Greeks would be here, the French would be here, the English would be there, the Chinese, but no one was fully integrated. It was basically each in our own
Silos.
silo, our own little groups,
Right.
and we interacted when we had to. And where there was, let's say, common goals or problems or whatever, we faced them together. Whereas today, I find today, you could be somewhere and never speak to your neighbor. And you could go, let's say, 5, 10, 15 years, and you know who your neighbor is, but you have no idea what's going on in their life. They have no idea what's going on in your life.
I thought that so the whole concept of taking in immigrants changed in the 70s. I guess they got in more Asians and the Europeans started to diminish in their numbers. Tell me about, you've seen a lot of changes in the immigration policy. How has it worked out for the country as a whole?
Well, it depends who you ask. Now, they've made some surveys where they're saying, now, again, a survey can be slanted depending on who does it and what they want to, what they want to showcase. But they found that during the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, the people that came would get off the plane or the boat on a Monday. By Wednesday, they're working. And then they're building equity for a home, for a business, for something. Whereas today, they're finding that a lot of immigrants come in and they're not going to work, they're not contributing, but they're taking. And then that's causing friction. I remember talking to someone in Europe who said, why would I leave where I am now to come over there and be worse off than where I am now? At least here, I know where I'm going, I got what I have. If I come over there, not only will I start from scratch, but I gotta go down.
Right.
And no one's willing to do that.
So what you're trying to say is that back then, when the immigrants came, they used to be more active in terms of being self-reliant, but now they're living more on the government doles.
Yes.
Is that what you're...
Yeah.
So what made this change come about? Was it the attitude of the government, or was it...
I think it's the problems in the world. Because like after World War II, when things were rough in Europe, North America was starting to boom a little bit.
Right.
And I know that North America when they went to like Europe and Asia, they went in and said, listen, if you send us people, we will pay you X amount per head. So the government said, listen, if you guys are struggling, you can go to North America, and I'm not saying it's going to be like handed to you, but there's opportunity. And a lot of people took that opportunity. They came to North America, South America, and they built up a little bit, let's say, an inheritance or something, a house, a business, something to leave the kids type of thing. And then what happened was each family member contributed so that whatever they amassed could at least grow or not be, whereas today, because of like the wars and the struggles, and a lot of people, maybe they've done something in their country and they want to escape, they come here, and instead of saying, well, I'm coming here to work, I'm coming here to see, do I want to be here, or do I want to use it as a stepping stone to get somewhere else? And it's basically, and while they're here, well, they need to survive, so they get handouts.
So the handouts, weren't they there always? Didn't you get land to cultivate, and that you owned that land? You came from Greece. Did you get anything when you came?
No.
Nothing?
No. When my parents came, the first thing they told them is, you gotta go to work, you gotta make an income, and after that it's up to you to build what you want to build. Something that I find strange. My parents brought their parents here. This was like in the 80s. My grandparents did not contribute one thing to Canada, yet they got a stipend to be here. I know people who today are bringing in others from wherever they're from.
Yeah.
Now the people are old. They're getting a stipend for this. And not only that, but if let's say now Bob is here. If Bob brings in X amount of people in, he will get something for it. In Quebec, if you have, let's say, 4 kids and up, they can give you a license to open up a daycare, because you can raise 4 kids, then you can help look after other people's kids. Now, on the surface, that might be a great idea, but what do I know about running a daycare? But like Canada gives these little things just for the hell of giving it. And like today, everybody knows if you want to get something, you come to Canada.
How has that impacted the country and people like you and me? How has that impacted us?
Well, the problem I see is everybody's coming here when Canada has so many problems. Now you're adding to it by bringing in people who might not know the culture, might not understand what I need to do to let's say be successful. And maybe in their country they were professional. Let's say they had maybe medicine, teacher, whatnot. But they come here and all of a sudden Canada says, no, you can't. We don't know what you did there. You can't be a doctor here. You can't be a teacher here. So they end up in places where yes, a body is needed, but not education. Yes. And those types of jobs do not pay. And not only that, especially in today's economy with the pandemic, and that compounds the problems that they have and the rest of us have. Because what are you going to do with all these people coming in every day? You need to put them somewhere. You need to put them somewhere, and you need to give them something to do. Otherwise, they start doing the wrong things. That's why you have gangs, and that's another thing that some of these organizations use to bring, let's say, the wrong element here. I heard of a story from a guy that was running a bar that there's war criminals here. That they know that they can slip in and fall through the cracks, and they're good.
I think that's a problem that the North Americans in general are facing, whether it's across the border down south or here. Um, I think what is happening is that they have become the repositories of the world's refugees and migrants and immigrants. There's nothing wrong in that. There's a UN specification or a requirement that these countries take in immigrants. But what's happening is that the economic growth has not kept pace. At least I can talk
Yes.
with full confidence as far as Canada goes, and my own personal experience goes as an immigrant. There is no respect for who the person is who's coming in. They're all in the same boat.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Yes. Um, yeah. What happens is people come, they're escaping something. But when they get here, most of what they're promised doesn't materialize. I had a coworker when he was from Pakistan. When he went to the embassy, they painted this rosy picture. When you get to Canada, this will happen, you'll meet this person, you'll meet that person. Because as soon as I landed, nothing. I was left on my own. All that they were promising never happened. So it was basically I had to figure everything out on my own. My English wasn't good at the time, so I had that problem. Now I'm looking around, okay, where was all this that they promised me?
So, what do you think is going to be the impact, let's say, a decade from now on the fabric? Because there is, as I see, there's too much diversity. There's too many people coming
Well,
from too many places.
Here's one thing that I was telling a friend of mine. I was watching the hockey games.
Right.
You watch the Americans. The minute the anthem comes on, they all get up, put their hand to their heart, and say the anthem. You see the Canadian games, nobody cares. If anything happens here, who will get up to protect Canada? Like I don't mind having a million different people, but if no one believes and puts it that I am here, this is not my country. This is where I have to protect. If no one protects it, it'll be taken over.
But Peter, the one thing that I've observed is that this is phenomenal. Mr. Kennedy, JFK Kennedy, used to say, "Do not ask what the
Yes.
nation can do for
Yes.
you." However, there's one thing: we have progressed so many decades later. I realize that when you come to a country, you have blind faith and you expect something.
Yes.
And when that does not happen, there's a schism or schism.
Yes.
And that is what's happening, and that's due to bad governance. And we're not building a nation. We're building cultural communes in this country,
Yes.
but we're not building a nation.
They're building ghettos.
Ghettos, exactly.
And what they're doing is they're pitting this group against that group and then against that group because this is what they do. By having everybody infight,
Right.
you can't focus on what bad government is doing.
Right.
You have Justin, who's running around country to country to country to country, telling everybody, look how great we are. Look how everybody loves me. But he cannot open up his eyes and see all the problems that he's causing. I understand there was a problem with the pot situation, putting people in prison for stupid things.
Right.
But was legalizing the solution? I don't think so.
Marijuana, you mean?
Yes,
The marijuana
because now,
that we have.
how you're walking down the street with your kids, and that's all you smell.
That's right.
And I know that there are people who, the minute this thing happened, they all rushed. Oh, now we can legally get high, and who cares?
In fact, even in apartment buildings, I go out and I lock my
Yes.
door and I have to
Yes.
smell that
Yep.
horrific smell
Yes.
of marijuana,
Yep.
and I'm helpless.
Yes.
I have to.
Yep.
It's like inhaling somebody's.
Yep.
It's
Secondhand.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Secondhand marijuana.
And you can't say anything because it's my right.
No, but you see, what's happening is that the law or the governance, the lawmakers are not realizing that the laws are archaic. There are no laws.
Yes.
That laws need to change and upgrade
Yes.
themselves, but that's not happening.
Because um, it's a cash cow. Everything in Canada, when you learn how to monetize everything, this is the end result.
Right.
Um, you look at not only the pot laws, you look at the way the marriage system and divorce system is set up. That needs to be changed.
What do you mean by marriage system?
Right. When you get divorced,
Right.
because today both parents are probably working,
Right.
and they're both bringing in an income, and they're both, let's say, independent but at the same time together. But the minute that splits, it becomes um, a battle for the male to prove, listen, um, maybe she's working, maybe she's making more than me,
Okay.
maybe I'm making more than her. Instead of saying like, okay, you know what, this thing is over, uh, we'll gauge who does what, who pays what. It's automatic. You split. The wife gets everything. She gets the kids. Maybe the kids don't want to be with the mother. Maybe it's the relationship isn't a typical one. But yet the law is the way it is, and many men today are having problems with that because they got to pay money to someone who's making way more than them. And there's things in place where men hide, let's say, sources of income. Women hide sources of income. The system gets manipulated to the point of it becomes a he said, she said type of thing. And then even the lawyers themselves want to make more money, so they sabotage things on purpose to keep the thing going. Because they know the more time I spend in the courtroom, I make more money. They tell the judge, listen, we prolong this, you make more money, I make more money. The city makes more money. Let's keep them fighting.
So here's the thing, how I see it is as a weakening of democracy or democratic values because we, the people, are not able to pressure our governments into introducing laws that meet the current requirement. It's a weak democracy then.
Well, democracy does not exist. What it is, it's they they tell people you want to be secure, you want to be free, but you have to give something up for that. And what people do not understand is the more let's say, the more freedoms you get, the more other things are taken away. We have the transportation system. If you see who uses it, it's no one with money. So it'll never, never, never get the funding it needs. Because the people with money would rather drive. And so they're pushing, okay, let's make cars, let's make this, let's make, now the big thing is the EV car. Let's make, and it's like, it's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, none of that works. It's all scams that people, lawyers and corporations come up with, and they go to the politician and say, listen, you fund this, we'll fund your campaign. You look like solar power.
Yeah.
How much sun is out there? during the day. It's not enough to power anything of that sort. They had an expose a couple of months ago where they had companies that would go to people's homes and tell them, listen, we'll redo your house into solar energy. You'll save so much money. They switched. They ended up paying 3 times as much because of the equipment cost and the amount that they were supposedly, let's say, generating was nothing. It was practically not enough to power a home, and so they had to rely on the sun plus the electricity. So basically, their bill was skyrocketing. And
This was in the province of Ontario?
I believe it was more in the U.S., but there was some companies trying to do it in Ontario.
Canada.
Yeah. But the thing is, our government should already know all these things.
Very true.
But when there's money involved, hey, we're going to get money for the campaign.
The other thing that I've noticed is that our democracy in this country, correct me if I'm wrong, what I've observed is that it's pivoting around communities and the power that a community has with the government. So all the negotiations take place, and the rights of the individual are getting eroded.
What's happening is this: in every community, the ones who are articulate and who have let's say, they realize what the agenda is, and they realize how to manipulate that. Those are the ones who are getting what they want. I remember in Montreal, they had a consultation. So there was a guy who wanted to build a garage, and then he wanted to expand it. But what they didn't tell the population was that they had already made the deal way before the consultation, because he walked to the mayor's office. He was articulate. He put his plan, he set out the plan. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what's going to rake in. Blah blah blah. And before the consultation, the deal was made. Then when they brought when they brought the rest of the people in, of course, normal people, they're ranting, they're raving, they're screaming, but there was no coherence. So at the end of it, he got up and he said, "Listen, this is what we decided," and he was way more articulate because he knew how to play the system. This is why what's happening with communities today is when you have groups or individuals who are more articulate, who understand the process better, they're able to maneuver and get their way or whatever. Or at King Street, you have 3 streetcars coming at once, and after that, good luck waiting for one. You're going to wait at least, and always either the first one or the last one is empty.
In fact, what I've noticed is, you have 2 buses. One is an express,
yes,
and the other is a not express bus. They are coming simultaneously together. Yes. So now, of course, there's no gap. So it's the same route to Page Station where I go. Yes. But the gap, I missed both. Now I wait another 20 minutes. It's crazy.
Yes. And I also found out that the TTC every year buys extra buses and extra subway cars, but they'll never see the light of day because basically they're there in case we need them.
Oh, why?
But if it runs properly, you don't need them. And there's instances, I'll give you one route, the 60. During rush hour, you need a bigger bus. They purposely put a smaller one, cram it, and during the pandemic, it was a joke. Here you are in a bus, they're telling you all these things on the news, and you're crammed, basically like this, face to face, and supposedly there's a pandemic going on. And then you're thinking to yourself, if somebody is sick, all he's got to do is cough, and you got a whole busload of people that are going to get sick.
So you said you're a Greek Orthodox Christian,
Yes.
right? And do you see, this is again to do with the multiculturalism, do you see that in the face of many religions being uh, ambiguously represented, or let's say the washing down of religion, there are certain, we are not left with that kind of diversity in religion. I'm sorry, I hope I'm able to get across my message. The ones that are zealous in their religious appeal or in their religious practices are the ones that are deciding the direction of our communities. I mean, I hope I'm getting my point across. And as a result, what will happen is decades from now, perhaps, we'll have a very diluted kind of Christianity or
Yes.
whatever.
Well, the thing that I've noticed is as the generations progress,
Right.
people are stepping away and not necessarily like in a bad way, but more of a questioning way. Um, because a lot of times they're brought up like we do a fasting, but it's not anywhere near what our ancestors, let's say, or our couple generations before used to do.
Right.
Like I worked with a coworker who actually did 40 days of complete fasting. We're talking just bread and water for 40 days. Most people won't do that. Most people won't even fast a couple of days straight. They'll do like maybe 10 minutes, half an hour, and going and do communion and run out to church. But
You have fasting too in the
Yes.
40 days?
well, she would do it. We don't. No one does it. It's there
In the Greek
in the Greek Orthodox.
Christianity.
Yes, it's there. No one does it. Like people, because of the stresses of today, because of the different work environments, people barely do like a day or two now. It's come to the point, and not only that, after you see all these pandemics and all these problems that are, because when we do communion, we do it from a single cup, from mouth to mouth type of thing.
Right.
So what's happening now is people are questioning, like, if someone is sick,
Yeah.
why are you putting it in his or her mouth, and then you're gonna put it in my mouth? Because they're starting to question, like, is that hygienic? Is that
So
how
what
it
do you
was meant
see,
to
how do
be?
you see this working out into the fabric of a multicultural
It's-
society like Canada?
It's probably what I think in the future, as we keep progressing, I think all those practices are either going to get altered or maybe dropped altogether, because people will start saying, well, what if there's a pandemic? And what if there's this? And like, I don't want to catch what they have. Or
So does that mean that we will have there will be one omnipresent religion? Uh,
see,
because
that might be tricky.
because let's face it, I mean,
Yeah,
what are we practicing today? Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism. I'm a Hindu. I hardly practice Hinduism.
Yes.
But I am very vociferous in my cultural practices. I
Yes.
don't want to be mutilated.
Yes.
I don't want my genitals
Yes.
mutilated. That is what I stand firm at. But slowly and slowly, I think we are giving a license as religion gets diluted. We're giving license to certain social and cultural ethos which may vary, which may
Right.
not be convenient for me, despite my diluted Hinduism or your diluted Christianity. There is a cost. So how do we prevent that from happening?
I think it's inevitable, because what's going to happen is, as we progress, what's going to happen? Like, there was a
point in Greece where a church leader, in order to get the younger people in, started making the sermons more hip to get the younger people in. When you start doing things like that, now you're altering it to the point where at one point in time you're going to say, well, if Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they have similar, why don't we just tie it in all together somehow, and we'll take all the fringe stuff out and then put it all in a nice little box. This way anybody can, oh, you can follow, but you don't have to follow. You can say you're part of this, but not have to do anything extreme or.
But then but then each religion brings with it a socio-cultural heritage.
Yes.
I might not be religious, but I may be forced into accepting or being numb
Yes.
about those
Yes.
cultural.
Yes. Because what they're going to do is
norms.
they're going to take out the cultural aspect and just give you the religious aspect and say, this is how we're going to do it now, in order to, because like especially in Quebec, they're losing churches left and right. These beautiful churches
Are being
converted to condos, or just simply, oh, we don't know what to do with this. And it's like you said, it is a cultural thing where people sacrificed to get this building up for a reason. And now you're, for profit, because somebody wants to make something for his pocket, is destroying something that's beautiful.
That is sad.
It is.
So what's the way ahead? Where do you see Canada heading? I'm nobody to forecast what's happening in the future, but you've come from Europe and your parents came from Greece. You've seen so much change. What's the one outstanding thing that you feel so strongly about in the last two generations?
Well, I remember growing up, the older generation, when they first got to like Canada and in Ontario, they were like,
the city was X amount, let's say, and then past that, all you had was farms. You would come all the way out to X amount of space, and then it was like farmland and forest, and it was beautiful type of thing and more amazing. It goes, today, all you see is concrete, and it's like, it starts off, and then all of a sudden, I remember when I was living in Montreal, never saw a goose, never saw a coyote, never saw anything, raccoons, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You come out in Ontario where it's a bit more rural, and you have all these little animals coming around, and it's actually nice, but at the same time you're like, this whole area is just there's concrete everywhere. And then they're wondering why all these animals are coming in, breaking into people's homes and stuff. Like you go out west, they have bears, they have mountain lions, and it's like the more that we encroach and we take over, like animals have no other way. Where are they gonna go? Now, is it a good thing? In terms of progress, you can say, yeah, it's a good thing. Because the more people come in, we got to put them somewhere. Problem is, when you grow too fast, you can't keep up with what's happening out there. In terms of crime, in terms of congestion, in terms of the problems that you're going to face.
we need like politicians that have an open mind and can grow with the situations.